welcome to Undiluted, the role of healthcare in the United States. We want to keep bringing you important topics that are pertinent to society and educating everyone to live healthier lifestyles. So this is episode 8, and this is about toxic-free lifestyle with Kait Justice. Caitlin is known as Kait to her family and friends and has been working as a family nurse practitioner since 2018. Prior to that, she has worked as a registered nurse starting in 2013 with a majority of her experience in the medical ICU in various hospitals in Florida and California. Her Instagram page, Tox Free Kait, was created to share her journey and knowledge aimed at helping others reduce the toxic burden faced daily. The knowledge she has gained and applied in her own life has led to positive changes, and she hopes to help others make these changes proactively rather than reactively after a health scare. Caitlin is also a wife and a mother to an almost 3-year-old boy. So I want to welcome Kait to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. And yeah, so I just wanted to get right into it. What made you get into nursing, become a nurse practitioner? Just a full disclosure for our audience. Kait and I worked at Tampa General a long time ago. So tell us a little bit why you got into the field.
Yeah, so I would say it was kind of stemmed from a personal experience of mine when I was young. No one in my family is in the medical field, so never had exposure to it really besides the experience. So I was actually, I was around 12 years old and I just playing outside, cut my foot really bad. Got stitches, everything was supposed to be okay, but it got infected and it was really hard to treat. Really scary. I was in the hospital for almost a week, different hospitals, trying to figure it out. So during that time, I experienced a lot of different nurses. You got your day shift, your night shift. And it really stood out to me the difference between a nurse who, smiles, asks you how you're feeling, seems to, enjoy her job a little bit more than someone who um, is a little maybe grouchy or having a bad day, whatever it is. But that patient experience, especially being young and scared, really made me want to be that wonderful nurse, that I had. So it really did stem from that. And then I have always had really big kind of goals and aspirations. So once I became a nurse, it's kind of like, okay, what's the next thing? My mind's always kind of thinking about that. So I think it was kind of it seemed almost natural for me that I wanted to become a nurse practitioner. I was trying to think back about like exactly when that happened, but I think being in the ICU, you see so many different things, right? And I was there for about 5 years in the medical ICU, so see a lot of, you know, sad, horrible things. So I wanted to kind of get away from that and do a different part of healthcare, which I don't think is done enough, which is, like preventative care, and focusing on things we can do before we become sick. I wish I got to do that a little bit more in my, 9 to 5 job, but I do some preventative care and then just education. So I think that is huge and we don't do that enough, to be honest. So
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, it's getting into ICU and seeing all those horrific experiences people have gives you a different perspective on, what you want from people, and that's really what you want for everyone is to be healthy. And can you touch a little bit more on that? You said that you want people to be more proactive than reactive. That's really my message too. So can you
right.
elaborate more a little bit on that?
Yeah, so I think, being in healthcare, um, you know, I think we are reactive a lot, unfortunately. That's kind of how a lot of our healthcare is. You have this problem, you go in, you try to fix it. And so I think I found that out kind of. I mean, my brain, so I lived in San Diego for 2 years, and that was really where I got really focused on health. I know I lived in San Diego, which I don't know, maybe it's the weather. It's beautiful all year round, but it's very like health focused. And I feel like I've always been, a healthier person, but got really active, was watching, what I ate, things like that. But as far as, the toxin load, um, I really didn't get too focused on that until I had well, it was a bad year. I had a couple of things happen in my personal life that made me think, okay, what can we do to help others? Education is huge, right? To help others to where they don't end up in that scary position that I was in. Um, and I think just it's knowledge, just hearing about it, being exposed to like reading ingredients on the back of your products. It sounds so simple, but like the majority of people are not doing that. And I even was not doing that much. I mean, I would go for cleaner things. Um, and I feel like, avoiding fragrance, things that are more well known, but getting, more specific. Um, I personally had not done so I had a breast cancer scare myself um, when I was 37 weeks pregnant. So that was very scary. And that was still with me living a what I thought clean, pretty healthy lifestyle. Um, and, you know, we'll never know exactly, right? What exactly causes it? But I think there are things that we do know about endocrine disruptors um, that, and even cancer causing ingredients that are still being in products that really that event really made me take a look into everything in more detail. So that's really where I would say Talks Free Kate. She wasn't around yet on Instagram, but I was, starting that journey. And then my son had a severe head to toe rash. Still thinking I'm doing a lot of good things, which I was. Um, but we went to my mother's house, who still uses a lot of the old school products. We've done a lot of education there. But my son broke into a head to toe rash. They thought it was like a penicillin allergy. It was so bad. Wheezing. We were in the emergency room and we had allergy testing. It was not penicillin. So what was it? Right. So this is me, in my opinion, and things that, I think have shaped that whole approach to starting to make these changes now so that none of these scary things happen to you or your children. So, long answer there.
No, that's great. I think, the more detail, the better.
Yeah.
So from this experience that you've had with yourself and your son, how are these toxic elements, how are they hazardous to one's health? And what have you found from all this that could have led to this? You said you don't know exactly sure, but
Mhm.
if you had to determine, based on elimination or based on yeah, so based on elimination, process of elimination, what have you seen thus far from doing all these changes in your lifestyle?
Yeah, I think a huge thing, and I think one of the easier things to look out for are fragrances. So that can be kind of a blanket statement for up to like 3,000 chemicals that aren't on the ingredient list. So, just being more knowledgeable about those things. I think again, you can't pinpoint, right, that these things happened exactly because of this. But since making, those serious changes, um, my son, he had like some pretty severe allergies going on, and not quite eczema, but a lot of skin irritation. And since, I've really fine-tuned everything, um, he those problems are gone. He has not had any more of those rashes. They even were kind of borderline. He was too young to be diagnosed with asthma, but reactive airway disease is what they call it before year two. He has not had any of those problems. And, you know, put two and two together, that's what I think, eliminating. So starting out with household, cleaners, that can have tons of chemicals, that, you're putting all over your home. Um, and then also, for especially women who are wearing makeup, possibly perfume, lotions, shampoo, even your floss. I mean, there are just, I think it can, when you first start realizing all this, it can be like very overwhelming. Like, okay, do I have to throw all of my stuff away? Obviously, that's expensive and scary, and we don't want to live in fear. Um, but if you just, make these small changes as you go along, it's
Mhm.
the goal is to reduce that overall toxic load, right? Like we can't, I like to say you can't control everything, but you can control a lot of what you're putting on your body, what's in your home, and those will add up, those small changes that you make, to lower that toxin, load or, exposure.
So let me ask you, Kate, because my wife and I are really big into this, and I have some friends that are really big into the toxin-free lifestyle. So, do you use the app Yuka?
So, I don't. I think some of those apps can be great, like if you're starting out, and getting curious, right? Because that's the best part. Get curious, try to figure out what all these names are. And that's like a great place to start. And I think it can be really helpful. I just would say if you're really, you know, um, getting nitpicky and really trying to reduce as much as possible, it's really just going to be doing some more of your own research, because even some of those apps will say, especially like on a rating basis, that they're like okay, but it's like what is okay? Like when you're rating things, they're kind of, I think it's not always black and white, but it's like should you have it or should you not. So
Would you recommend any like content, good resources for those to search what's good and bad in terms of toxic products?
So I actually did find, and this was actually on Instagram. Let me just make sure I get the name right. Yeah, so it's an app, and I believe it was 20, like a one-time $20 charge, but I have found it to be the most helpful because it's called SwitchNatural, and you can scan whatever product, or upload a photo. So you can do it as you're shopping or whatnot. And it will, flag any ingredient. And it's not on like a rating scale. It's like these are toxins, potential toxins. So, you shouldn't use it. And then also you can click it and it explains why. Um, and in studies as well, if you're, into that, it lists studies that, are associated with that. So, not paid to say that or anything. I don't, it's just really, I have found it to be really helpful.
Yeah, good. I mean, full disclosures, obviously. Um, so what do you think the future holds in terms of a toxin-free culture? And what's your take on how much it differs here in the United States and even the coast, right? East and West Coast. I know, I'm not sure what the actual act number is called, but in California, there's an act where they put on all of their products if there's cancer, um, containing elements. So could you elaborate on that, on your take on it?
Yeah, so California is I believe that's the only state, that does require things like that. So I think that is hopefully gonna become more of a forward movement to um, I think and I hope transparency is going to be better. So that, because I think right now, there was a period of my life where uh, I thought I was doing really great things, and I was using safer products. So that is a good thing. But um, it wasn't as good as I thought that it was. And that was just a lack of knowledge. And you can go down the laundry aisle, right, at whatever store. You can see, products that are white. They say a safer option, only 9 chemicals or so, and so you're just looking at the front and thinking, oh, this is safer, right? And it is. But would I still use that product now that I know the things that I know? No. So, I think, it should be a little easier than that, I hope, in the future, um, to say, "Hey, if there is something in here that you're at least aware, and you can make that decision." And it's not like a secret that you have to go searching for ingredients, or it's listed under a blanket term fragrance, to make you think that you're using a product that's better than it actually is. So, um, I would hope that I think there's like forward movement here, I mean, there's companies that are coming out now that are really great and really spreading the non-toxic knowledge. So I think the future is bright, hopefully.
So Dr. James, you got any questions?
Kate, I have a lot of questions for you. This is very interesting for me. My first question, let's just deal with the consequence. I'm sure most adults have high levels of toxins in their system. Do you recommend supplementation such as, say, milk thistle or dandelion root to assist the liver in cleansing, or kidney supplements, etc.?
Yeah, that's a really interesting topic. I I personally don't use a lot of supplements, because just my personal kind of thought on that is that, hopefully we're, getting more of that through our nutrition. So I would tend to go more that route if I can. But I think there are a lot of products out there that, can aid in that. But, it's also kind of one of those things like, I think sometimes with supplements, is it working? Is it not? How do you gauge that? So it can
Mhm.
just be very like specific to each person. Something might um work for one person that doesn't another. I
Mhm.
do view some like lymphatic like dry brushing. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Sure.
And then just using like a wooden tool to kind of help with blood flow and circulation to kind of um, circulate toxins that way. Um, so I try to be kind of like, and a lot of those supplements are natural, but I try to be,
Mhm.
as natural, yeah, as possible without supplements.
So give me your take on drinking water. And I'm all about, like, let's be in the solution. I know a lot of water has a lot of toxins in it, or polybutylene, etc. What do you think the best source of drinking water is?
Yeah, so I think, something that is so important for everyone is a water filter. So whatever that looks like, for you and your family, if you can get one that, is in the entire house, a filter system, great. If you, if financially or whatever reason you're not able to do that, definitely make sure your drinking water is filtered, preferably in a glass, filter. Plastics is one of those, we didn't touch much on that, but
Mhm.
that's a whole nother story. Definitely. And I think there's even a water bottle now. I haven't tried that one out that, can filter for you. So that's very important, I think.
Great. And I imagine when you go to the store and shop, I would think that a lot of what you see on the shelves, I'm not even counting about processed foods, just in general. Is, is there a method to your shopping where there's just certain foods that you look for, and then are you buying more of the online products? Because I think a lot of the generic brands have high levels of toxins in them.
Yeah. So, I think that's a really big topic right now, talking pesticides and,
Mm,
um, I think some try to say, I think this has been talked about on the perimeter of the grocery store, right? Because
for that.
organic if possible. I know everything is very expensive these days, but I try to really maybe if you need to save other places, make sure your food is organic as much as possible. It's sad to me that we have to have organic. I think everything that you go to the store should be, able to be the same, everyone can just go grab some blueberries and you're good. But organic is number one. I think with eggs, organic, pasture raised, um, all of those things are just, I would say, top priority. And just, getting familiar with reading ingredients, I think is huge. How much are there added sugars in that you're getting, versus natural sugars? The food is a whole different department as well. There's just so much to this, toxic free journey.
Mm. And Jeff, I know you had a couple of good questions, and I think one of them that I'm sure you're going to get to is someone that's now becoming self-aware of the toxins we're exposed to. What's a good place to start?
Yeah. So I think I would say the two places that I would focus on, is, to start, would be household products, your cleaning products. And I didn't answer your question about things online. That, like Thrive Market, things like that, are some good, online resources. But also for like household products, like just a few, like Branch Basics I've ordered and use. Truly Free is another really good one. And a lot of times they have like specials and you can get codes and, so I
Mm,
would say just as, if you're able to throw everything away and money's not an option, then sure. But a lot of times that's not the case. So, say you run out of, your floor cleaner, right? When you buy something next, get something that's non-toxic, so as you run out, you're going to have to buy something anyways. Just, replace that with a non-toxic version. And then I would say like your personal care products, deodorant is a really good place to start. I think a lot of people know that now, which is great. And then something that I was shocked about is like dental floss and
mm,
um you know and I'm like a big you know teeth person. I don't know, I don't know, I love going to the dentist. I'm kind of weird about that. And I floss a lot, and so changing floss was, I don't know, that was a big deal for me. But there are some
mm.
really great options now, and I honestly, after trying, it worked better. So who would have known? So I would say I believe it's like 168 chemicals. There was a survey done about there was a total of 168 chemicals that a woman is putting on her body every day. And
Oh,
I remember that because it's just so alarming that, and that's every day, right? Through, various products, makeup, hair products, your shampoo, um, even razors that we use are plastics. There's just
mm.
so many and it's like when you're putting it on every single day, right? That's just going to add up. So making those changes is like a great place to start.
Kate, you are a wealth of knowledge.
I know,
You
I feel
really
like
are.
I got really chatty. I could talk about this forever.
No, this is really good. So I mean, for in terms of this toxic free environment, where do you see a lot of, what in terms of like your experience, what changed for you that made you think, well, what I gotta do something, because this is similar to me as well. Like, I know for what I had to do, but what did it do for you? Because that is really serious. What happened to you, and on top of that, being at the end of your pregnancy.
Yeah, I think, it didn't really occur to me right at that time. You know, it was just kind of an afterthought. I think especially when, with my son, right? So if you, I think how you feel about yourself, is one way, but then when you see something in your child, it's just kind of a different level, in most minds. And um, I just, the more I started researching, I just remember feeling like mind blown. And I'm like, I am a nurse practitioner. I'm well educated. I've traveled a lot of different places. And it was like, why is this shocking? And to me, like, why is this not common knowledge? Like, so, and then I started talking about it, talking to my mom, talking to my family, and nobody knew. And then my mom, she loves all the scents, right? I think, and it's like candles, just fragrance galore. It's just, the more smells, the better. And, that's just how we were raised, how she was raised, and who doesn't like a home that smells good? But, once I started, talking to her about it, um, she was like, oh, okay. I never knew that, like, what should I use? And so it just was like, even someone who has used it their whole life since before I was born has used these toxins. She was so open and receptive to like, oh, well, if this is bad, then I don't want to use it. And so it just became this part that I was like, you know, how many more people, like, even if you just can make one person make one change, it's probably going to benefit their life and probably lead to more things because um, the more you know and become aware, the more you want to make those changes, I feel like.
Spot on. I think awareness is so key, and that's what's lacking, right? Because someone like your mother, who is very probably everybody else's mother,
Yes.
um, wants to smell these things in their house,
Hmm.
and then they get the realization that these things may be harming them inadvertently, or
Right. Unknowingly.
by cause and effect, right?
Yeah.
Unknowingly. Um, I think we need to educate more on what you're doing. I think is so important, because again, like you said, one good habit leads to another habit. It's like waking up every day, and what's the first thing you're going to do? Are you going to make your bed? Are you going to brush your teeth? Are you going to shave? All that stuff. It
Mm.
leads to good habits. Um, and so I'm so with this message because it's impacting all of us. And as people, we should be really aware of what we're putting on our body, putting in our body, what we're feeding our minds, all that stuff. And we want to create a good culture that's healthy. Um, so Dr. James, any other questions?
No, I think that's it, Kate. I am now following you on Talks Free Kate. I just
Oh,
looked you up
thank
on
you.
Instagram, so there you go. Check this out. I really am hungry for some of this knowledge, and as you know, I think a lot of people are. So this is good stuff. And then, as facilitators of health and wellness, we got to get the word out.
Yes, I
So
agree.
thank you for the
Yes,
information.
lots of new things coming. It's really exciting. When you first start a new page and it's like, oh gosh, what do I do? Like, it's really hard starting from like zero. But as things are getting going, it's I'm kind of getting a knack for it and what people want. And yeah, it's been fun. So it feels good to also be passionate about something
Mhm.
because sometimes you can lose that spark a little bit along the way. So I'm enjoying it, and I hope people can get some good tips.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
think you provided that 100% and continue to do so. We'll be rooting for you. Again, Kate's page is Talks Free Kate, right? All one
Yes,
word.
yes,
All right, cool. So Kate, are you open to being coached?
yeah.
All right, cool. Well, Dr. James, you can hang on if you want. You want to watch, you can hang around if you want.
I have
Um,
an open house to go to, so I'm going to roll.
all right, all
All
right,
right.
It was nice
Kate,
talking
good to
with
meet you.
you. Thanks so
All
much.
right. And
all right.
Jeff, I'll
Take care,
give you a
Dr.
call. I'll
James.
see you Saturday, buddy. All right,
All
brother.
right, man.
Take
See
care.
you then.
My man.
All right, Kate. So, have you ever did like a coaching before, like
Yeah,
life
I
coaching,
have
nurse coaching?
done. I feel like I've had like some behavioral like coaching before. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's probably a little different, but that was after my traumatic end of my pregnancy. So that was my first kind of introduction to coaching, and it was really really helpful. So
Awesome, awesome. So, is it okay if we record here? Do I have your permission? Is that
yeah,
okay to put this okay on YouTube? Great. All right. So I'll tell you what I've learned. So I'm certified in holistic nurse coaching. My mission is to help people get back in touch with their mind, body, and spirit. And so what I typically do is, for this session, we can do 15, 20 minutes.
okay,
And it's anything that you want to focus on.
okay,
And you are the one leading. I'm right beside you. And so whatever you want to talk about, we're gonna have or like somewhat of a problem or whatever you want to talk about, and then a goal and a solution. So like you said, it's creating a healthier habit and integrating in your life, and you come up with that solution, not me. So I'm just asking you the right questions to dive deep into the root of the cause. Does that make sense?
yes, okay.
So it
Um,
really is a spiritualistic journey where I have no idea what you want to talk about. And so what I would try to equate it is something like a picture on the wall, and you may look at it differently than I will. And so I can't really describe it, only you can. And when you tell it to me, maybe I can change it a little bit, maybe change it a couple degrees left or right. And so maybe you can have a new perspective because that's what it's all about. It's having a new perspective and learning something different that you didn't already think about.
right. And so you said this is like a problem that I
It
have.
could be anything. It can be something as small as wanting to change your diet or um,
Okay.
having a new conversation with someone or anything. It can be absolutely anything. Can be
Okay.
small, large, medium, whatever.
Okay.
So I'm going to first ask you, we're going to get into a sense of calmness. So I'm going to ask you just to do some deep breathing and get in touch with your mindfulness. So I'll ask you to just close your eyes and put your hands wherever's comfortable for you in your lap or uh, your knees, and just we'll take some deep breaths whenever you're ready. In through your nose, out through your mouth. I just want you to think in your mind that this is a place of non-judgment and openness and peace, and come to the thought that we're going to find new parallels and whatever you want to focus on for the next 15, 20 minutes, and have a sense of oneness and how to keep going in the direction that you want to go in. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right. So we've got 15 minutes. What would you like to focus on?
I'm trying to think. I would say something that comes to mind that I've been trying to, after having my child and, I feel like I've done better with getting, eating habits and things like that, doing better there and getting back into some like self-care and things. But I feel like the one thing that I'm trying to do better at is like finding time, or I guess committing to, more exercise. I don't know if that would count as something. But I guess motivation is kind of a maybe lacking it there. Because I think I have the time, but not really making it a priority as much as I want to and that I have in the past, because it's always been important. So yeah.
How does this goal of wanting to have motivation to exercise match your sense of purpose or values?
I think it is very important to me. Like I said, when I lived in San Diego, it was really profound on um, my overall health and wellness. And um, that was like the best, shape I had ever been in. And there was I feel like a direct correlation with, my physical health and my mental health, um, which mental health for me is always a ongoing process. I have a history of anxiety and, I had postpartum depression, which a lot of situational things going on at that time too. But, I think the two correlate a lot and definitely for me. So it's very important.
So I'm sensing that you place health and wellness as a top priority for you.
Yes. Yes.
Mm, okay. So what would your life look like once you've achieved this goal of implementing exercise into your life every day or however often?
Yeah, I feel like, it definitely helps with stress. You know, I think it's also an important example for my son. Um, my husband is very dedicated to his exercise, and I was that way at one time. It's just becoming a mom has definitely been a big shift in every aspect of life. So, it's kind of getting back to that.
Where do you want to be by the end of the session?
I would say just feeling more motivated or inspired to, kick it into gear.
So be more motivated. You want to motivate yourself more. So how do you want to get to your session goal? Do you have any suggestions how you want to get there, or you want me to give you a suggestion?
Um, yeah, I'm definitely open to your suggestions. I mean, I do small things, like going for walks and things, which, are helpful. Um, I just want to get, I think just more in a, a good routine, getting it back into a habit, a healthy habit.
All right, awesome. So these are all my cards from my
Okay.
class, and these are all the tools. So what this is, Kate, is we're trying to tap into one of the four layers of consciousness. So these are levels of consciousness that we can use at any time.
Okay.
So I think a really good one would be the archaic, and this tool option is about life purpose.
Okay.
Okay, how's that sound?
Good.
Okay, all right. So I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to do this with you.
Okay.
And I want you to think, where do you feel motivation most in your body?
I don't know. I kind of feel like here. I don't know.
In your heart.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's your heart saying to you about motivation to exercise?
Um, that I can do it and I have that in me already.
Mm. Can I talk to your heart directly?
Sure.
Okay. Let me know when your heart's ready to talk.
Ready.
Okay. What means the most to Kate when it comes to being healthy?
It's the most. There's so many variables. I'm a thinker. So,
Take your
um,
time.
what would be at the top of that? I think, how you feel, when you are exercising and focusing on, that it kind of, it's like that domino effect where it affects a lot of different things when you're committed to that.
And how does your heart feel when you do those things?
I would say it feels good. It feels, healthy.
What else does your heart say about wanting to motivate yourself to encourage you to get into a good routine?
Mm. Mm. I think that, I just, like I said, I have that in me. It's just a matter of, I guess maybe getting a plan, um, to get that started.
What type of plan would you think would be best for Kate?
Well, once you have a child, it is a little more complicated than just, going out the door at any time. So I would say, talking, communicating with my husband about, when I can put that in, the schedule, to make that more of a, established thing.
Would that work for Kate?
Yes.
What else does your heart want to say?
That I know I will feel better if I do get more exercise.
So your heart's just saying that your plan will be to discuss with your husband how to best attack wanting to create that new habit
Yeah, I think if
of
there's kind of
exercising.
like a dedicated um day or time that it will um be more obtainable than just kind of winging it.
Right,
Because I can't really do
right,
that too much anymore.
right. So being consistent and being
Mhm.
organized, that's going to work best for Kate.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. So I'm going to ask you to open your eyes. So what's some fun and easy homework that you can do to try to incorporate being exercise one of your top priorities to do?
Um, well, I've kind of talked a little bit, I know what to do and that sort of thing because I've done it um, a lot. But I would say something I've talked about but just haven't really done is just doing more like home workouts because I really prefer like I like, like high intensity, like hit training, like go to a class like for an hour and just get it all out and, be done. That's kind of more what I prefer. Um, and so I think now that I don't have as much time to do like go to those classes, I've kind of just put it on, the back burner. And then it just kind of gets farther and farther away. So I think something that, I've started thinking about is that, getting some at home equipment. I mean, I have some things, for like yoga and stuff, but, maybe getting some more like hand weights and stuff to, get that started.
Awesome. So what was your takeaway from our session?
I think, it did make me feel, more inspired to get it started. Um, bring it back to the priority list. Because it can kind of just get buried on the list of things to do. So yeah, I think it was helpful.
Kate, this episode was awesome. I can't wait to blast this out. Thank you for letting me coach you. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
that. Means a lot
Yeah.
to have the trust in me. So that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for listening, watching. Please subscribe, like, share.
Thank
We
you.
will see you next time. Thank you, Kate, again for coming on, Dr. James. That's it. See you next time.